Hello there, friends, and welcome back. We're here with another episode of The Encouraging Word. My name is Paul Bennett, and next to me is Mr. Stephen Young.
Hi, y'all.
And we are staff members at Rocky River United Methodist Church. If this is your first time tuning in, so grateful that you have opted to share some time with us. We hope we can make it worthwhile for you. Our purpose on this podcast is just to bring some encouragement in your faith and hopefully some entertainment for you and help you get to know us a little bit better as we seek to grow together in relationship and to grow our faiths together through our church community. And we'd love to get to know people who aren't part of our church community as well and make some connections beyond. So welcome one and all. We're going to kick things off with our Fit segment, those things that Stephen and I would share about our personal lives or our families and our past weeks that are funny, interesting, or thought-provoking. What do you got for us, Stephen?
Let's see. I always forget so mine was it full on funny, interesting? I guess this one's interesting because it's interesting, I guess, because it's about me. I don't know.
I was going to say, why don't you leave that up to us to decide?
So, yeah, something caught my throat. I was eating a carrot before we got on. Anyway, so my Fit segment is, for those who have watched in the past, know that I play video games. And whenever I have this little bit of time at the end of the day, when my kids go down and I have time to kind of veg out a little bit. So one of the games I've been playing is called No Man. Yeah, the carrots it's awful.
Back to carrots.
Don't eat carrots before you podcast. It's
or
the
play
lesson.
video games. Yeah.
Yes. I've been playing a video game called No Man's Sky, and this video game is all about like space exploration, and there's some survival elements in it, and so it's really fun because you can do so many different things is what makes it fun. You can fly around in your spaceship. You can warp to different star systems. You can try to get to the center of the galaxy. You can raise a settlement. You can have a big old ship with all these little ships with it. I don't know the technical term. You can send the little ships on missions, and then they come back, and then you can actually build your own kind of spaceship. It's actually called a Corvette, which I didn't know. Corvette is actually the name of a military transport vehicle. I always thought of
as like a generic definition beyond just the specific.
Yeah, I always thought Corvette was a car, but it's actually Corvette is a large transport military vehicle. But you can make your own spaceship that's technically called a Corvette. So it's just so many things to do, and it's fun, and it's pretty much relaxing because there's certain video games I've played now in my elder years, even though I'm not that old, but I'm getting there. I don't play video games the way I used to, and there's certain games that I play that I've tried to play and they're just too hard, and I'm frustrated, and I'm like quitting, and I'm like, why am I going to spend this little bit of time that I have during the day to be mad for an hour? Right. It's just not worth the progress. So this game has this perfect balance between the two, and you feel like you were entertained, and you feel like you in some way accomplished something. I think it's they have the periodic table in there, so maybe I'm learning
something educational happening.
I'm learning about nitrogen and carbon and oxygen. So
sounds like 3.
Right. Good. I need to do more studies. So, it's a fun game. There's some math involved in there too. So,
that's really good for you.
But there is a calculator in the game. So,
so not much effort on your part.
No. So it's a fun game.
Where does the name No Man's Sky come from? Do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably because the game, you're just flying around from different planets and star systems and stuff. So it's like no one owns the skies that you fly.
The universe belongs to everyone.
Right. Yeah, it's no one's ownership. You just you're flying around everywhere. So, it's a fun game. Recommend it if any of our listeners are gamers out there.
Yeah,
it's on every system. So.
Yeah, it sounds like a big game, and that there's just so much content that it just never arrive at the end.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love it. As opposed to playing video games, which I do some of myself as well, but I'll share that my wife and I, in the last couple of weeks, have spent some time meal prepping, but I'll have to be more specific because there's many ways to do that. So we've shared that we are now empty nesters just in the last month or so, but one of the things that coming into this phase of life we decided we wanted to do was to prepare a bunch of meals all at once and then freeze them, not necessarily full meals, but at least the main dishes, and then freeze them so that the idea being knock out a bunch of work, and every day in the midst of our busy lives, you're trying to figure out something for dinner, and if you don't have a ton of time, you don't have to resort to just eating goldfish or or hot dogs. You actually have a legit quasi-healthy main dish that you can pull out of the freezer. So we have stockpiled dozens and dozens of meals, a fair variety of things as well. And I just hope my freezer doesn't go down because it's doing a lot of good work right now. But we committed 2 or 3 days to that process, and feels good now to know that we have we're good to go for quite a while.
So what kind of meals are we talking about here? Like fettuccines and
fettuccine? That was not on the list, but I would love to make some fettuccine in. We have let's see, we started by browning 30, 40 pounds of ground beef, something like that.
Wow,
so
that's a lot of beef.
Yeah, a lot of beef. So there's some meatloaf, there's some taco meat, there's some shepherd's pie type preparation stuff. There's and then there's some chicken stuff too. We also made some just shredded chicken that you can use for a bunch of different things. There's like a chicken casserole thing, Sloppy Joe.
Do you freeze dessert too, or is it just main course meals? Or?
We freeze our ice cream, but otherwise, most of our desserts are just sitting on the counter.
Good answer.
Thank you. Yeah. So, that's just something that apparently becomes important in this season of life, or at least an option in this season of life that wasn't so much before.
Yeah, I can't wait to be an empty nester and start, freezing our meals.
Great. It gives you something to look forward to.
It gives you something to look forward to.
Make sure your kids know that you're looking forward to that time as well. I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
I'll drop them off at college. I'm like, yes, I can finally freeze my meals.
Freeze some meatloaf, That's what I've been waiting all these years for,
Exactly.
But I'll miss you, girls. Well, I guess it's time we got to our topic at hand. So, yes, we are continuing our series in which we're talking apologetics, is what I'll call it, being the various ways and explanations and arguments that we have in our toolkit to defend our faith as Christians. So it's just one tool within a variety of tools that we use when we witness and evangelize with folks outside of the faith. So what we started last episode was confronting some of the questions or criticisms that folks who are not believers have about Christianity because we want to make sure, and there's even a passage in Scripture that says, always be prepared to defend and explain your faith under any circumstances. So we want to be living lives that put us in position to talk about our faith and share our faith with others. And when those moments come, we're not going to have time to step back and say, hold on, let me look that up, or let me, it's best to, in the interest of nurturing that relationship and the authenticity of our faith, to have an answer or some understanding of our own faith that we claim to prioritize to be able to share with folks. So last time we came before you, we confronted the question of how there's a perception that all religions kind of lead to the same God or lead you to the same truth. And we kind of broke that down. And this time we're going to approach the question of why doesn't God just reveal himself to us? So the idea being that, God is all powerful and all-knowing, and he truly does want to build relationships with and share the truth with and bring people into his fold, into his family. He has the ability to, so why doesn't he just, poof, out of the clouds like there's God? Right. He's got this book to hand us that answers all our questions, and he's going to take us up to heaven, give us the tour, and tell us everything we always wanted to know about the faith, and then do a bunch of miracles to prove himself to us. A lot of people with some intelligence logically have asked, why doesn't God just do that kind of thing? And I think it's a very valid question. So we're going to address that today. I'll go ahead and dive in unless you had something.
I think that's a good one. I think that's one I hear students talk about too, and it is a common question that when you look these videos up on YouTube and stuff, it is something that's commonly addressed. So yeah.
So hopefully we'll meet you all where you're at in addressing this question, not just for others, maybe even for yourself, maybe as you're wrestling with these aspects of your faith. So for myself, I start to address this question, and as always, Stephen and I have probably done a little searching on the web just to kind of shore up our thoughts on this, but this was an original thought for me, was the idea of approaching this from the phrase "God is love." I think that has to be the starting point. Recognizing that God is love, and where does that take us? It takes us to this idea that love is, if an actual being, an entity is love, not just loves. God doesn't just love us. God is love. Then we take that to the next natural step, which means that there needs to be a recipient for that love. If love is going to exist and have any meaning, any significance, there needs to be a recipient. So in a sense, you could say that God, being a perfect, all-powerful being, doesn't need anything, and you would be 100% true. But at the same time, in a sense, you could argue that God needs recipients to be able to share Himself with or pour into. And so His intent is to create relationships with those creatures, those specifically with the humans that He has created, relationships of reciprocal love. In the absence of that, I had a woman from the church that shared this quote from a book with me that I thought was really powerful. She had lost her husband, and she encountered a quote that said that grief is love with nowhere to go, no place to go. And I just imagine God being that very thing. If He didn't have recipients to pour Himself, His love into, then there's something really broken, something really absent there that is significant. So God designs us to be recipients for His love, and naturally our goal and our job is to reciprocate that love back to Him, and to build relationships with Him through this manner. And as we start thinking about how God would accomplish that, how God would bring about a relationship of reciprocal love between Himself and His created beings, yes, in theory, it is an option. God could poof out of the clouds and tell us everything we want to know and do everything for us that we would want Him to do. But we have to keep coming back to this notion that God is love. God is trying to present Himself, His love to us. And this image came to mind to me of, I don't know, give me like a celebrity, the top celebrity comes to mind.
Travis Kelce.
Okay, so Travis Kelce is in Rocky River, and he's at Heinen's, right?
Yeah.
He's wandering around, and he's picking up some brats or something for dinner, and he's feeling lonely. He's trying to make a friend, Yeah, because I'm sure he doesn't have any friends.
No, yeah.
But he goes up and approaches somebody and tries to introduce himself to them and establish maybe this new connection, this friendship. And what is the person going to, if they're at all hip to football, sports, or what's her name? Taylor Swift.
Swift.
If they're in the pop culture world whatsoever, they're going to know who this guy is.
Yeah.
And they are not going to receive not his advances, but his introduction, his attempt at connection authentically. They're not going to receive him. They are going to be impressed by his celebrity status. And they're going to go one of several routes. Either they're going to ask for an autograph, they're going to ask, can you buy me a car? They're going to ask, can I come hang at your place for a while?
Yeah.
They're going to ask, and they're going to be, the spotlight is going to be on them, and they're going to just be overwhelmed by this. And there's just no chance that this just out of the blue attempt at a relationship is going to lead, at least in the short term, to a loving relationship, reciprocal loving relationship. And so the same is true with God. I think if He were to poof out of the clouds and do everything we wanted and show us everything we want to see, we would not see God's heart. we would see these other qualities of God that would blind us to the true God and his heart and his love for us. So what he does is he does reveal himself to us, but in more subtle ways, in ways that really emphasize and give light to his love for us and his grace and his nurturing desire for us. And then he allows us our free will, because any relationship that is truly going to be built around love is going to allow free will to operate for both parties. He doesn't force us, because in essence, Travis Kelce coming up to somebody in Heinens, their free will is going to be totally overwhelmed by their desire to, even if they wanted to, they wouldn't be able to just walk away and act like Travis isn't there. Like they're going to feel obligated, and we're going to feel obligated, or we're going to just be unable to resist if God comes to us and starts offering us freebies or telling us what we want to know. Our free will has to be able to function and allow us to choose yes or no. Do I want to be in relationship with God? And that's important for it to be a relationship of love. So I think these pieces are important, that God allows us in our free will to operate. And it's not just him revealing himself in a way that causes us to miss truly God's character and instead see. And that's why, Jesus was hesitant at times, I think, to do miracles and to display his power and his wisdom in certain moments, and withheld even information from people at times because he wanted them to experience him authentically. So I'll pause for a second. I got one or two more thoughts. But
yeah, and I agree with that. I think I don't know if you addressed it, but I think there's examples of when God does reveal himself and in that sort of manner. I think of Mount Sinai, and the people, even though they saw God, they were afraid of his power and his holiness. Right. And there's a sense too that, and I think what Scripture really points out too, even though you may see God, it doesn't necessarily change your heart. You know what I mean? The Christianity, the faith is based off transformation of the heart, to be born again, to be from life to death. Those terms are words that reflect a completely new person, and that doesn't happen by just seeing something. Because you can, matter of fact, that's kind of how I feel the internet is today. My wife and I were just talking about this, and I was talking about this with my parents. It's hard to believe anything you see on the internet anymore, even though it shows you. But you're like, I don't believe that. Yeah. Even though I see it, I don't believe it. Mm-hmm. So you really have to, there's a different level. There's the sight, but then there's the true belief and trust. And sometimes those things don't align. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
and that's where relationship, truth has to be delivered via relationship for us to buy into it, I think, because we have to trust a person before we trust a piece of information or a concept. Yeah. No, that's really good. And the other point I'll make, and this is, I think, a big piece of the puzzle, too, as to why God doesn't directly reveal himself to us in some of these ways we might imagine that he would choose to, is that from the very beginning, God created us in community, and his desire was for his created beings, for humanity to come alongside him in living out his mission and his purpose in this world. And there's even, imagery in the Old Testament about God, planting human beings in alongside him in his throne room to really not just help him, but to rule over this world with him. This is really the vision that he had for his relationship with humanity. And part of that is that he doesn't want to just sit back and spoon feed us everything and just have us and him in relationship in an isolated manner. He wants us to be able to experience the love and beauty of God from other sources as well. So it's almost like, yes, we can have God as like the sun that hovers above us and beams down on us, but if that is beautiful and warm and loving and nurturing, how much greater is it when you're surrounded by that same energy and it's coming at you from all sides? And that's his design for community. So he much prefers, and this is evident throughout Scripture in so many different ways, to function through other human beings to present himself to people who have yet to come to know him. And so by just poofing out of the clouds and doing his thing, he's depriving us of this opportunity to experience community on that level and build relationships around witnessing to and sharing his love with one another.
Right. And it's similar to when Jesus, fed all these people, and then they went looking for Jesus because of the food that they received from him. And then once they found him, they're like, yeah, Jesus, like, you're not following me because you believe my teachings. You're following me because you got the bread, And so that's an example of people who just follow Jesus because he was a miracle worker, but not because of the teachings. And every time Jesus did a miracle, it was a signpost. It was pointing towards some greater teaching that he was trying to get across. So his miracles weren't just done just to be impressive. His miracles were done with the intent of people changing their hearts so that they would believe this greater message that he's trying to get across to them. So, yeah, people can miss that message and they get so caught up with, the miraculous that they forget the real truth that Christ is trying to get across.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we're meant to fall in love with and believe and trust in God, not just the idea of God or the qualities of God or whatever God has done for us lately. We are meant to, and this is something even the church falls short in, I think, in a lot of ways, is connecting people directly to God, not just to a ministry, not just to even Scripture, not just to the idea of worship, but to be in relationship with the Almighty. Yeah.
And I think, and this is the last thing I'll say too, like within the Trinity of God, the whole Jesus Christ, the Father, and the Holy Spirit, there's this perfect love within that Trinity. And then through that love, he's ushering us into, do you want to be in this, this love experience that's been happening for eternity? And then we're ushered into that to experience that relationship with God that we can only imagine what he has planned in the future for those who are in Christ, So, but yeah, you want to follow God. That's the thing too. Like, I always put it in the terms of like a marital context. Like the spouse that you have, you want them to love you because they love you, not because of X quality, because then it's like, if that quality's gone or if something happens, then it's like your love was qualified. It wasn't this truly sacrificial, unconditional love. It was a love that was qualified to a certain condition, and once that condition is no longer met, I don't love you anymore. Or God doesn't love us that way. And God, we also ourselves shouldn't love God that way. Like, I only love you, God, unless you give me X or do this for me.
Absolutely.
So then that qualifies it.
Yeah, it's unconditional love versus transactional love.
Exactly.
I think that sums it up.
It can't work.
Yep.
All right. Well, that was great. Paul, thank you so much for sharing. And if anyone wants to contact and email you, they can do that, right? No?
I'll forward it directly to you, the guy who has all the answers. Yeah.
So we end our podcast on some fun questions here, whimsical, I messed that up, questions that get to know us a little bit better and just help us to, share about deeper things. Do these help us to deeper things?
I mean, depends on what you mean by deeper, but things you might not learn about us in just your average conversation.
That's good.
That's for sure.
All right, so here's our question. What is a totally normal thing you've never learned how to do? So for me, it would be I never learned how to tie a tie. So I guess there's still time for me to learn how to tie a tie.
There's but I
don't have the effort to, I guess.
You're not interested.
So, I never learned how to tie a tie. I just kind of, now when I think about it, I'm like, how did I make it through those early years in the interviews and stuff? Because actually, I think my dad would tie it, and then I would never untie it. So like once it was tied forever. Yeah. So then like I would loosen it just enough to get my head through, and then that would be it. And I couldn't touch it because once it's untied, it's gone. I have to. I don't want to resort to the clip-ons. It's
pretty shameful. Yeah.
I know, right? Yep. I got to have an authentic tie to my tie. So. Yeah, and actually now my wife ties my tie, so it's like actually my brother doesn't know how to tie his tie either. So he
does she tie his ties too?
Yeah, actually my brother just recently got married and he was getting ready in the groomsmen area and he's like, "Hey, can you give this to your wife so she can tie it for me? Because I couldn't tie it. He couldn't tie it. Like,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was. We were on the edge there. She finished it just in time for the wedding, and he had the tie ready. So yeah, that's something
she needs
that
to start charging for her services. It's pretty low.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get better at that.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's so if we ever see you wear a tie to church or something, we know that
it wasn't
it's
me.
not you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And if I do learn, I'll share it in the fit segment.
We look forward
we'll
to
have
that.
a celebration. We'll have cake and punch and stuff. So.
We should. That's worthwhile. I think it's definitely deserving. Because at this point, I don't know if is it like learning a new language? Is it easier to learn when you're younger?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But I
we'll
would
never
think
know.
it's maybe I should try. Now I feel like I want to try.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Kind of.
I guess old dogs can learn.
Just right now, but once this is off, I probably won't want to try.
Oh, okay. So just when the spotlight's on you.
Yeah,
I see how it is. Yeah. I pondered this question too, and certainly I feel like my answer should be somewhere in the realm of like home repair, like handyman type stuff, because I'm really inept at those kinds of things. My dad was wonderful at that stuff, but I never took time to pay any attention, and he never forced me to. So
you didn't watch Bob the Builder at all, or anything like that.
Bob the Builder only used construction vehicles,
so he could drive a backhoe or something.
Yes, those things. If they're animated, right, and I can just talk to them and tell them what to do, then I can.
That's true. You could do that.
Or I could do. What's Home Improvement? Yeah, I watched a little bit of that, but he was always just blowing stuff up, so I don't want to do it his way either.
That's true.
So I'm not great at any of that stuff. I have a horrible sense of direction, but I wasn't sure if any of those really qualified any one particular skill. So the other thing I'll mention is that I guess I don't know how to. I'm very uncomfortable with the concept of dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever danced before?
Yes, I've danced before, but I'm not very good at it. I think there's dancers who are professionals, and then now there's dancers who are able to just relax and dance, because I think dancing has a lot to do with like how you're perceived and how you're like, I don't want to dance because people are judging me, so then you just close up.
Yeah.
So I'll dance with my kids and by myself.
There's a song about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But, I don't dance either.
Yeah, and I think if it was like a dance that had specific moves, like I still
slow
wouldn't
dancing?
enjoy. No,
You're
like
barely you're shuffling your feet.
I do. Well, yeah. So slow dancing, I've done, and I'm not terribly uncomfortable with it. I don't necessarily enjoy it, but unless it's my wife, of course, which I have to say that I love. Yeah. I love slow dancing with my wife. Thank you. But I think if it was a dance that had like specific motions that you just memorized, I would still be horrible at it. I would look more awkward and uncoordinated than anybody else in the room, but I would feel more comfortable doing it because there's a prescribed way of doing it. Anything that's like improvisation, it makes me super uncomfortable. I just feel like I'm like any movement I make, everybody's staring at me, and I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing.
I think that's why the electric slide is so popular at dances, because he's literally telling you, take 2 steps, take 1 step, bounce, jump, turn around. Like, it's literally an instructional video. Put the music.
Exactly. So just like the chicken dance.
Yeah. Exactly.
See, those I'm okay. I don't enjoy them a ton. I don't know, if I was in the right frame of mind, I might. Yeah. So that's mine.
Thank you all for listening. Hopefully this was informative. Paul can't dance and I can't tie a tie. So it'd be great. We'll be setting off on tour here
Hopefully
soon.
we don't go to like a formal dance together. We definitely wouldn't fit in. Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you all for sharing or listening. I guess we're the ones who shared. And hopefully you can tune in soon as we put in, we're going to be continuing this series with some different questions to help you with your witness and help in defending the Christian faith. And hopefully this is an encouraging word. And also we want to see you in person here at Rocky River. We have an 8:30, 10, 11:30 service, and you can always catch us there. And we thank you for your positive words that we have heard in the past and hopefully more in the future. So thank you all, and bye.
Bye.